For me, the pandemic has been hell. My leadership style changed overnight. I'm a leader of education, and education stopped. Pre-pandemic, I was super proud of where we were as a school. And I mean that in terms of outcomes, in terms of quality of education, in terms of behaviour of children, and then the pandemic hit. We didn't have the structure in school to set up live lessons at that time. For us, it became very much a two-world divide in education. Not every child had access to a laptop, not every child has access to internet. My value set sits definitely on levelling the playing field. So the level playing field has just fallen off. We're not even on the same one to level any longer. That's where, as leader, you sit and say, my value set will not allow this to happen again. The playing field will be the same for every child. A small number of years ago, we took the decision to invite my parents to live with us purely because my father wasn't well. And we go into lockdown and he's a shielding. How do you lead a school at the same time of having to shield for somebody who lives with you? And actually, we have to work and we have to move forward. And does that create anxiety in my home? Absolutely. But it was the right thing to do. So we are a citywide intake. We do not have a catchment. On average, we would have about 45 feeder primary schools in an academic year. So we are a school that has to market ourselves. You can't feel the vibe, you can't hear the learning that happens unless you're here within the school. So we invented a virtual school open evening, which is a website-driven front page that allows a parent to walk down the hall and go into science. So they click on science and they would see a science experiment, and then they'll go into IT and do the same. And on every single one, there will be the option then to contact a member of staff to be able to ask any questions they may have. So when we were facing return, initially year 10 came back, and there was a lot of anxiety at that time around just getting back to normal. Myself and a head of house offered for them to come on a Google Meet with us and say, what is it that you're scared about coming back? And they actually sat yes around the safety about whether they would bring a virus home to their family. Also about people will have forgotten their name, and they're the things that make children anxious. So just about dealing with them. Ever since the pandemic started, I have started with a weekly email to parents, just keeping them up to date with where things have gone, where we're going, what our plans are, just keeping that open communication going. And that has been a welcome relief, I think, for parents. It's kept them in touch. My relationship with parents over the pandemic has most definitely improved positively. Virtual parents' evenings are one of the things we would definitely never have considered prior to the pandemic, and absolutely will consider moving forwards. We have a leadership lockdown recovery plan. Where were we in March 2020? Because we need to remember that, because that's where we need to be. It's a reset, a step it up, a fast forward, slog up the steep climb, eventually to that summit, and that's our 6 terms through next academic year. It will take us time when we come back in term 1, but nothing great comes easy.